Whenever you think of Courage the Cowardly Dog, you're usually thinking of the horror aspect, right? Like returning King Ramsay's slab, or running from the Black Puddle Queen, or dealing with the overdue library book. And that makes sense. How often do we see a kid's cartoon dedicated completely to horror? But people always talk about the scariest, the best, the creepiest, and in our case, the worst. But you know what doesn't get talked about nearly enough in the Courage the Cowardly Dog mythos? That's right, Courage's allies. So that's what I'll be doing today, laying out Courage's bestest friends. It turns out there aren't that many substantial allies in Courage's corner. It seems like most people would rather kill him in a game of dodgeball or something. And since that accounts for most of Nowhere, I think it would be good to actually explain what I consider an ally. It's someone who actively helps Courage out with whatever it is he's trying to do that week. So no, being nice to Courage, as rare as it is, does not count as being an ally to Courage. Sorry, bunny. Let's get the proverbial ball rolling, shall we? The number 7 spot is going to William's brother from the episode Food of the Dragon. This episode plays out with a flightless dragon named William eating Eustace because, hey, dragons gotta eat too, and I don't think the bags have much treasure lying around. Courage attempts to save Eustace by teaching the dragon how to fly, which fails. And failure tends to induce hunger, stress eating and whatnot. So the dragon tries to eat Courage and Muriel, but they escape to the middle of Nowhere Ocean. It is here where we meet a water dragon, and while they should be scared, the water dragon means no harm. In fact, he imparts Courage with valuable knowledge that he uses to save Eustace's life. See, this dragon is a water dragon that eats fish and not people. And this is where Courage realizes William is actually a water dragon. Courage gets things started by giving William some fish, which clues William into the fact that he is a water dragon. But what truly convinces William is his brother explaining why he believed he was a dragon. All of this together finally makes William relinquish Eustace and allows us to add William's brother to the list of Courage's allies. For the number 6 spot, we have someone that functionally does the same thing as William's brother, bestow Courage with knowledge, but teaches Courage a lot more and gives him the skills to survive. That's right, it's Dai Lung's favorite auntie, the good empress from the episode Squatting Tiger Hidden Courage. So in this episode, the evil empress's power is waning and she needs the bones of someone peer to restore her reserves. Of course, this is at a time where the Bags visit China, so Muriel is taken to the palace to be deboned since she is a sweet old lady. Obviously, Courage isn't going to let that happen, but the evil empress banished him to a small village. There, a noodle-selling peasant who, spoiler alert, turns out to be the good empress gives Courage some advice. Well, first she sold him some noodles, gotta make that quiche, am I right? But after that, she helps Courage all the way back to the palace. Seeing as this episode takes place in China, Courage has to go through trials to gain the knowledge to defeat the evil empress and save Muriel. But since Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes are like 15 minutes, there are only a couple of trials. They're pretty tough, but the good empress offers Courage tips to conquer them. For example, who would have thought the way to beat a tiger was to be eaten by a tiger? The rest of this list is filled out with characters that actually show up in more than one episode, which is a big thing for Courage if I'm being honest. And at the number 5 spot is someone who helped Courage as much as she created problems for him. It's Shirley the green chihuahua gypsy. Let's get one thing clear though, she is no charlatan. Everything she advertises does exactly as she says, more or less, and that includes her curses. And it's her curses that put her at the number 5 spot. Sure, she helped Courage teach Eustace a lesson and save the family from some green hands, but she did it all for herself. There are 2 things to know about Shirley. 1, she likes money, and 2, she likes being petty. If Eustace crosses her, you better believe he's getting cursed, and that tends to affect Courage and Muriel as well because curses are fun for the whole family. Plus there was that whole ordeal with that vinyl housing a spirit that tried to trap Muriel, which is like passively malicious at best. Next up is someone who has known and been a friend of the Bags for presumably a long time, Dr. Vindaloo. He's an Indian doctor that the family goes to for most of their afflictions, no matter how weird they tend to get. The only thing is that, well, he doesn't seem to really know how to deal with the issues. Occasionally he will, but most of the time he gives them very little help and not a lot of useful information, opting to give his standard doctor lines. And then there's the whole thing about him throwing out the whole doctor-patient confidentiality thing for some cash, and that's just wrong. And there's not much else to say about good old Dr. Vindaloo. The number 3 spot belongs to someone who I believe is one of Courage's only real friends, and while Courage does make friends at the end of the episodes, none of them really show up again as a part of another episode. Usually it'll be as a cameo at best, and you can't nurture friendships if you don't hang out more than a little bit. The only reason this person is not number 1 or 2 is because the others are so much bigger in comparison. With all that said, the number 3 courage ally is Charlie the Mouse. He first appears in the Le Quack episode when he's hired to get rid of some stinky cheese, and also punch the shit out of Dr. Le Quack, amnesia specialist, no problem. But this is actually the last time Courage has to hire the big mouse, partially because he ends up getting a couple jobs after that, like being a postman and a bartender. But past that, Charlie ends up helping Courage a couple of times, mostly by giving some valuable information, like some backstory on Bunny and Kitty, or where to find that asshole dog that looked like him. Even in the Western episode, he was given some info to Courage and they weren't even themselves, if that makes sense. In fact, he even confides in Courage that he likes Bunny, which is an obvious sign of friendship. All I'm saying is that Mr. Mouse is a valuable buddy to Courage, and more people need to see that. And number 2 is definitely the most popular character on the list, and for good reason. When you ask someone what they remember from Courage the Cowardly Dog, most people will say King Ramsay, unless you're a loser reminiscing about King of Flan. But after that, they will surely mention the sassy British computer that Courage uses. What isn't there to be said about him? He lives in the attic, knows basically everything, gets real uppity with Courage, and his scanner is honestly some future shit. It's crazy what it can scan. And how can something based off of HAL from 2001 Space Odyssey be anything but helpful? He appears in 19 episodes, and in just about all those episodes he helps Courage in some way. Whether it's explaining the background on someone or something, giving Courage the business, or giving a solution to Courage's problems. And honestly, he might be better than Dr. Vindaloo when it comes to that sort of stuff. I'm sorry, did I say might be? He definitely is better than Dr. Vindaloo in that regard. WebMD always comes before an actual doctor visit. The only reason that he isn't number 1 is because he's kind of an ass. And who knows if he would actually help Courage if he wasn't dependent on a wall outlet. Also, there was that minor thing where he almost murdered Muriel to prove that he was brave and humans were cowards. Who knows what's going on in his hard drive? Finally, we have someone who is like Jesus. He knew he was going to die, yet he still did his best to save the life of Muriel and even his killer. I'm talking about the number 1 spot, the Magic Tree of Nowhere from the episode, The Magic Tree of Nowhere. In this episode, the Bag family drops off some curtains and gets some free seeds, which are then planted by Courage. Just as a little aside, I really enjoy how there are these weird ass companies that are never really explained. Like, why do these people have magic seeds? Maybe they didn't know, but still, who gives out free seeds when you're dealing with curtains? Anyway, this tree instantly grows, and the first thing that it starts doing is granting wishes. And not even on some tricky gen shit. It's very straightforward, like, you want a new oven? You got it. Want a construction vehicle? That's too easy. And the magic tree helps so much that Eustace starts getting jealous because of course he will be mad about a nice tree that provides for the family better than him. And in Eustace's bitterness, he wishes up Muriel a case of big head syndrome, and it looks disgusting. Oh hey, Dr. Vindaloo makes an appearance and surprise surprise, he does nothing other than identify what the ailment is. About as helpful as he normally is. Anyway, Courage asks the tree for help and the tree tells Courage that it will take 3 days, but he also predicts that he will be cut down. I assume the 3 days are to grow the flower that's part of the cure. Anyway, hijinks occur and the tree is taken down, but right before he dies, he tells Courage what the cure is and provides the flowers from his branches. And the kicker of all this is that Eustace comes down with the whole head disease thing and the tree starts growing back to eventually provide the cure to Eustace as well. The tree is selfless and very deserving of the first spot in a list of Courage's allies. Plus, he has a really nice quote that is enhanced by the situation and his sonorous voice. Anything worth its value is worth fighting for. And there you have it, the top 7 allies to Courage. Let me know what you think. Anyone I left out, let me know in the comments and I'll see you all next time. But before that, have a good day.